We're going to start this morning with a song. It's a song I learned at the Association UU Music Ministries Conference in Baltimore, Maryland. This is a song written by Matt Meyer, who's a music director and musician in UU. And I'm going to have you just repeat after me. Can I get an E? So it goes like this. Bright morning star is rising. You sing. Bright morning star is rising. 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 Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking in my soul. And you are welcome to stand and move your body. There's some instruments in the front for the kids. But we're going to start with this song. Here we go. Bright morning star is rising. Bright morning star is rising. Bright morning star is rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Rise up. Rise up from morning slumber. Rise up from morning slumber. Rise up from morning slumber. Day is breaking in my soul. Rise up and hear your calling. Rise up and hear your calling. Rise up and hear your calling. Day is breaking in my soul. Oh, lift your voice to heaven. Oh, lift your voice to heaven. Oh, lift your voice to heaven. Day is breaking in my soul. We'll sing out loud for justice. We'll sing out loud for justice. We'll sing out loud for justice. Day is breaking in my soul. We'll build this faith. Build this faith together. We'll build this faith together. We'll build this faith together. Day is breaking in my soul. Bright morning star is rising. Bright morning star is rising. Bright morning star is rising. Day is breaking in my soul. Just our voices. Bright morning star is rising. Bright morning star is rising. Bright morning star is rising. Day is breaking in my soul.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sarah Oglesby Dunnigan, the minister here, and my pronouns are she, her. It's good to be with you this morning. These words from Allison Palm invite us to gather together today. We gather this morning on the brink of a new congregational year. Some of us come fresh from summer adventures, from wind and waves and sunshine. Some of us come broken down from summer losses, from tears and pain and heartache. Some of us come renewed from summer rest, from peace and solitude and contemplation. Some of us come wearied from summer monotony, from work and heat and sameness. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever gifts and needs you bring, you are welcome here. And we invite you into this time of chalice lighting with us. If you're at home and have your own chalice and would like to light that, we invite you to do that now with us as we say these words together. We kindle this flame, symbol of our faith, for the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of love, which calls us to work for justice.
Could I have wireless too? Yeah. Pulpit is not responding.
Good morning. And welcome to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Rebecca Riggs. I am one of the worship associates here. And I'm glad to be with you this morning. And I thank you all for being here on this gray, wonderful day. That you dedicated a block of time to coming here to be with us. Thank you. Due to some technical challenges, are all together here in the sanctuary, but we do not have Zoom this morning. Those joining us electronically are doing so through YouTube. So we can't wave to each other, but I still want to greet those who are not physically with us, but listening in. So although we can't see them, I think they can see us. So let's take just a moment to say hi. We're glad you're all here. And we are, I promise, we're working on the technology. So welcome to all of you, new visitors and old friends. Those of you coming with strong convictions or struggling with questions, or both. We welcome people of every shape and size, color and culture, age, ability, sexual orientation, and family type. We really, truly are grateful for the diversity of the human family. And yet we are not perfect. We struggle sometimes to live up to our convictions. But we come together to support each other as we strive toward our very highest ideals. And one of the ways that we support each other is to have a pastoral care associate every week who is someone who can truly listen to whatever is in your heart and needs to be spoken and heard. This morning, that will be Nancy Woomer. Where is Nancy? There she is. And you can meet with Nancy up here in the front after today's service. Michael Woomer was to be on Zoom, but he will be available because Zoom will be meeting for the breakout sessions at the end of this service. So he will be available then to contact during chat or through the chat. And if you're a visitor, I'd especially like to welcome you this morning. If you're comfortable doing so, it helps us to see who you are so that we can greet you more fully after the service. So are visitors willing to stand for just a moment? We can see you more fully. Thank you, thank you. There will be a visitor circle. It's a welcome circle in the back there by the side windows. We invite our visitors to get some refreshments and then join us back there so we can start the process of getting to know each other and possibly answering any questions that you may have. I sincerely also invite our visitors and every one of you to come back next week. Every week is different, drawing on different talents, different traditions, different styles. And we hope that this morning's service touches your heart and your mind and your spirit in some way that helps you into the coming week. And we hope that you'll join us again. The style might be different next week, but the challenge and the comfort and the core of caring in this community is here always. So welcome to you all. Now let us sing.
Good morning. My name is Katie Seifert. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Director of Music Ministries here. Welcome. I invite you all to sing and move your bodies this morning. Our opening song is a song by Robert Anderson, who is the half of a dynamic vocal duo called Devotion from Colorado, which is also comprised of Lori Stanstrom. Devotion's rich harmonies and original blend of pop rhythm and blues brings music that shares positive messages of peace and spiritual transformation to progressive spiritual centers, retreats, conferences, youth gatherings, and special events all across the country. This morning, Robert reminds us that we are all a light in this world, yes, all of us, and therefore are ready to shine right now and in this place, seeing joy and living love every day. Who resonates with that? Maybe not. Even if not, just fake it until you feel it. So right now, please stand in body or in spirit for I'm a Light. And you are welcome to play your instruments. And then after this song, go ahead and turn your instruments back into the basket, okay? If this is a new one, it's a call and repeat, so it's real easy to follow along. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. In this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. I see the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy. In this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the place. This is the time. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Let it shine. I'm living love every day. Living love every day. I'm 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 living love every day. Spreading peace along the way. I'm spreading peace along the way. Right time. Right time. Oh, right place. Right place. Living love every day. Every day. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. This is the place. This is the place. This is the time. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Oh, let Go ahead and shine. Get into it. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. In this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. I see the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy. I see the joy. In this world. In this world. In this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the place. This is the time. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Oh, let it shine. This is the place. This is the place. This is the time. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Awesome. Now go ahead and return your instruments. Nice job.
Good morning. And if you kids want to come back up and stay. Sorry, I didn't get to that fast enough. Good morning. My name is Kelsey McIntyre, and my pronouns are she, her. and I am the Faith Formation Assistant. Thank you. If you guys have anything for the children's collection, thank you, Jackson. We have our lovely chalice up here up front. Our sermon today is going to be talking about the beginning of the school year. Have you guys been having a nice beginning to your school year so far? Y'all like their teachers? Oh, good. Stella's really, really excited. So I'm going to read you guys this book called First Day Jitters. And you may have heard it before, because it's a really good book, but I've changed it just a little bit. So it's called First Day Jitters by Julie Danberg, illustrated by Judy Love. Sarah, dear, time to get out of bed, Mr. Hartwell said, poking his head through the bedroom doorway. You don't want to miss the first day in faith formation at VUU, do you? I'm not going, said Sarah, and pulled the covers over her head. Of course you're going, honey, said Mr. Hartwell as he walked over to the window and snapped up the shade. No, I'm not. I hate faith formation, Sarah said. She tunneled down to the end of her bed. How can you hate faith formation, sweetheart? Mr. Hartwell chuckled. You've never been there before. Don't worry, you liked going into the sanctuary. You'll like the education complex too. Besides, just think of all the new friends you'll meet. That's just it. I don't know anybody, and it will be hard, and I just hate it. That's all. What will everyone think if you aren't there? We told them you were coming. They will think that I'm lucky, and they will wish that they were listening to the sermon like me. Mr. Hartwell sighed. Sarah Jane Hartwell, I'm not playing this silly game 1 second longer. I'll see you downstairs in 5 minutes. Sarah tumbled out of bed. She stumbled to the bathroom. She fumbled into her clothes. I don't have any kids. They're going to think I'm weird for being there, she moaned as she trudged into the kitchen. Mr. Hartwell handed Sarah a piece of toast and her lunchbox. No, they won't. They walked to the car. Sarah's hands were cold and clammy. They drove down the street. She couldn't breathe. And they were there. I don't know how to teach, Sarah said weakly. Nonsense, said Mr. Hartwell. You know everything you need to know. Oh, look, there's your lead teacher, Mrs. Burton now. Sarah slumped down in her seat. Oh, Sarah, Mrs. Burton gushed, peeking into the car. There you are. Come on, I'll show you where to go and what to do. She led Sarah across the parking lot to the education complex and walked quickly through the courtyard into the classroom. Don't worry, everyone is nervous on the first day, she said over her shoulder as Sarah rushed to keep up. They showed the kids into the classroom and Mrs. Burton took charge. Attention, please, said Mrs. Burton. When the class was quiet, she led Sarah to the front of the room and said, Class, I would like you to meet our new volunteer, Miss Sarah Jane Hartwell. If any of you in the congregation would like to step into a position similar to Sarah Jane Hartwell, we do make it really easy for you. We have lead teachers that, like Mrs. Burton, take charge and do most of the lesson. You don't need experience. You don't need to have children in the faith formation program. We would love to have you, and we always need volunteers. We still need a few more in each of the classrooms. So if you're interested, please talk to Marcy or I. Send us an email. We would love to have you. Now, Reverend Sarah is going to say a few words before we sing the children out.
Good morning. So we wanted to offer a little blessing for y'all. I know some of you have been in school for like a year already. I mean, a month already. It feels like a year. Right? Some of you started in July. How many of you started in July? How many of you started in August? How many of you still haven't gone to school yet? How many of you are going to school at home? Okay. School is happening in lots of different ways and places. Most of you already started. And every year I like to offer a little blessing for you and for your parents. And do we have teachers in the room? All right. Woohoo! How about other school personnel, people who work as counselors or principals or work on the custodial staff or do other things in a school? Anybody else in the room that's working in a school setting? Some of you might work in a university. So this blessing is for you as well, because we know that when you go into your classrooms, it's a little different than it might be here in this community. So we want to offer a back-to-school blessing as a symbol of our care and concern for members of our community who are venturing into the larger world as students and those who tend this world in some way, teachers and social workers and counselors and anyone who is in some way connected to a school year and to teaching and learning, whether it's in kindergarten or middle school or high school or college or some other setting. We hope that when you carry the item that Kelsey is going to be giving each of you, and you'll find different things you can do with it, we hope that when you carry it with you, that you will know that you are part of a community who wishes you to be safe and whole. We know that there will be hard days for each of you. Have some of you already had a hard day? A day you didn't want to get up? You felt grumpy? You weren't sure what to expect? All right, my high school 9th grader has had a couple days like that. And we also know that the values of this community are not always shared by others in the halls and rooms in which you will study and work. Sometimes this is uncomfortable, and sometimes it can even feel dangerous or shattering. Some of your friends don't have the same beliefs as you and have different ideas in their homes than what you might have in yours. And we hope that this reminder serves as a blessing and a remembrance of this space and this community, that you have a place here and y'all here where there are folks who have your back, who care about you, who are ready to listen to you and welcome you exactly as you are. So kids, I want you to hear me say, we love you. I love you. Yeah? And I want to offer you this blessing. May each of you experience support and nourishment for your body and your mind and your soul. May each of you develop the skills that you need to solve problems, to listen deeply, to challenge ideas. I know you do this with your parents all the time, and offer new ones. May you grow. May you each help other people and ask for help when you need it. May you use resources wisely and find new resources when needed. May you make new friends. Who's made a new friend already this year? I hope you make some new ones in your classrooms here too. And find supporters and offer your friendship and support where needed. May you experience some successes and accept some failures as equal parts of learning. And may you find here the community you need to keep growing and cultivating your unique spirits. Blessed be. Now, for my adults out there, I do also have a couple things you can come grab from me to keep in your folder somewhere when we do the Bridge of Love. So these stickers that we gave you that Kelsey made, those are pretty cool, right? Yeah, thumbs up. You can put them on a water bottle or a folder, or maybe just the way they are on your refrigerator or wherever your parents say it's okay in your house. Don't put them on furniture they haven't said you could put them on. I had a whole door at my house that was covered in bumper stickers and stuff that we had to replace. We moved. So check in with someone about where you're going to put those.
And
Have
I
a
will
really
have,
great year.
I'll have the rest over on my table in the back. So if the congregation, if you guys would like one as well, they'll be back there for you.
Thank you, Kelsey. And so now we're going to form a bridge of love and sing the Now Let Us Sing, which hopefully we've started to learn. And adults, if you want to come around and grab something, I've got
This
some
is
for you too.
Song with 2 parts, so you can choose either part and just follow along. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing to the power of the sing, sing. Now let us sing to the power of
the
Sing,
love
sing,
within.
lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the
hope
love within.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the
sing,
love
sing.
within.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the
sing,
love
sing.
within.
Lift up your voice.
Lift up your voice.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid. Sing to the power of the love within.
Now let us
Sing to the power of the joy within. Sing to the power of the joy within. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Sing to the power of the joy within. Sing to the power of the joy within.
Take a moment to center your body and mind and soul in this space. In a moment, we'll invite you, if you want, to participate in a ritual to light a candle of prayer for grief, for joy, for celebration, for things that weigh heavy on your heart. We have a water fountain that represents the living waters of this community, and you can add a little drop of water, like adding yourself into the living waters. You can move a stone in sand. You can leave us a note in the book over there about what's going on in your life, if there's something you want us to know about. Reverend Gretchen Haley says, "For this one moment, know only that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon this earth in your body. However tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear or disappointment or anger you carry. For this hour, know that you are not alone. Feel the presence of others around you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony and hope, and claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light, to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance. May it be so. May it ever be so." And as we move in the room and light our candles, leave notes, move stones, hold all that is in your own life and heart and the people in your life, the things that are close to you, whatever they may be, and the things that are happening in the world around us. Terrible fires, changes in climate that are causing havoc and chaos and pain and suffering. Political things that are happening around the world that change people's opportunities to feel free and to connect with each other. And all of the ways in which these things touch your life, whether just your consciousness or actually change what's available to you. Let's hold each of those, ourselves, our neighbors, the world around us, with deep love and care as we engage in these rituals and sing together.
Spirit's made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit's made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit's made a place for you where everything is new.
Please join in singing Body and Spirit.
Spirit's made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new.
Grace.
Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything is new.
Let the words sit deeper.
Grace has made a place for you where everything is new.
Last time.
Grace has made a place for you where everything is new.
Good morning again. Don't know if up or down is better. My job. My job. Are we okay?
There's the mute slide on the top. Do you see it? Sorry.
Now are we better? My job, besides being a parent and a chauffeur and a cook and a wife and a committee member and a board member, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, was teaching high school science. I worked at Hamilton High School, which is in the south part of Chandler. The school is pretty typical for that area, very diverse and extremely large. It's around 4,000 students. Whether or not I liked my job depended on which day you asked me. But I must admit that it had become harder and more discouraging in my last few years. Teaching is supposed to be a rewarding profession, and in many ways, that is true. But sometimes, well, sometimes. Let me share with you some of the student responses that I and other science teachers have gotten after trying so hard to get across a particular idea or concept. I'll tell you the concept and then read to you the related student answer I had. We're writing substances by their chemical symbol. H2O is hot water. CO2 is cold water. The states of matter, solid, liquid, gas. When you smell an odorless gas, it's probably carbon monoxide. Condensation and dew point in meteorology. Dew is formed when it's formed on leaves when sun shines down on them and makes them perspire. The fossil record of evolution. A fossil is an extinct animal. The older it is, the more extinct it is. The concept of a vacuum in space. A vacuum is defined as a large, completely empty space where the Pope lives. I didn't make these up, I promise you. Influence of gravity and tides. The tides are a fight between the Earth and the moon. All water tends towards the moon because there is no water on the moon and nature abhors a vacuum. But I forget where the sun joins in this fight. And finally, compounds are composed of chemical bonds between elements. Water is composed of two gins, oxygen and hydrogen. Oxygen is pure gin. Hydrogen is gin and water. Oh, I wish they weren't true. On a less humorous side, I have talked to capable students who just frustrate me because they won't work. And I've asked them why. And I had several students willing to tell me why they didn't bother to study. They were confident that if they failed, their mom or dad or both would come down and argue with me and an administrator until I was forced to change their grade, which did happen to me several times during my career. I have been asked to speak at the sentencing hearing for a former student who at age 17 had been convicted of knifing a man to death in a barroom brawl. Unable to contact the parents of a girl in my class who I wanted to talk to because she just could not stay awake. I finally found out the family had lost their home, and her family of 5 were all sleeping on the street, or in her case, not sleeping while on the street. And when I taught 7th grade briefly about 40 years ago, I had to check out 4 textbooks to girls who were leaving the junior high to be part of the TAPS program, Teenage Pregnancy Program. 4 7th grade girls. And that was just from my classes. I hope you don't judge me too harshly when I confide that it was not always easy to stay motivated. No matter how much I wanted to make a difference, sometimes I felt the hopelessness of reaching anyone in a meaningful way. And I remember feeling very much on my own. Everything was on me. I was the curriculum developer. I was the teacher up front. I was a small group leader. I was a counselor. I was the family liaison, the record keeper, the evaluator, the mentor, etc. It was somewhat of a juggling act. And I was working at a good school in a relatively well-off school district. I wanted to be the worship associate today because of the theme of this morning's service, blessing for a back to school. And after almost 40 years of being part of public education and only 5 years of retirement, this time of year still feels like that hectic reboot of possibilities. And I wanted a chance to say, teachers and students can't do it on their own. They need our help and our support. There's no one way to do this, but take to heart this morning's message, that it truly takes a village to raise and educate our children. I hope this is part of our calling, and blessings to you all. Now let us sit for a moment and let the music touch our spirits.
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? Holy baby, and who don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Ease this pain? Holy baby, and who don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Ease this pain? Holy baby, and who don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Will you ease this pain? The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
I'll never forget my second grade teacher. I don't remember all of them, maybe some of you do. Her name was Miss Philby. She engaged us in so many ways, inviting us to tell stories during show and tell, listening to each of us and finding creative ways to make ideas real and learning alive. Her rewards for reaching reading milestones were experiential and relational, never material. And when I moved away, we exchanged letters for a while. An old-fashioned practice, I suppose, and one that would be frowned on today as, too intimate, right? I felt important and like a cherished person in her class, and in our letter exchange. And I'm sure that many others felt that way too. What is it about those special teachers who made a difference for us? The ones who seemed fully present, who held us accountable, the ones who made us reach inside for something deeper, some capacity we didn't know we had, but discovered, like hidden treasure. You know, the ones who demonstrated integrity and compassion, who asked questions and noticed details that others seemed to miss. Maybe the one that made a difference wasn't in a classroom for you. Maybe yours gave you music lessons, was a coach or a scout leader, or maybe a Sunday school teacher, faith formation at a UU congregation maybe. The necessary ingredients for learning and growing were trust, care, and a willingness to ask questions, a willingness to explore and wonder, to try a new way and not give up, a shared sense of purpose and possibility. Maybe you know this already, but our educational systems are preventing and even poisoning the possibility for this kind of collaborative relational learning. My dad was a high school English teacher, and he coached track and swim. And in her second career, my mom taught American literature and creative writing to college students. I married a language arts teacher and social studies teacher who also spent time as an elementary school librarian and a coach for several sports. And in my early career in community colleges, I taught a career exploration course, a United States government course, and a college 101 course. I ran a TRIO student support services program that employed tutors and advisors to support low-income, first-generation college students and students with disabilities for 11 years. So teaching and learning and facilitating, advising and guiding, coaching, all of the roles that Rebecca listed as well. These have been a part of my life since I was old enough to play with my toys and pretend to lead a classroom in my own bedroom, reading to my stuffed animals and dolls as imagined students. And now, as a parent, I have been also a kind of struggling bystander in the educational life of my own kids. As a TRIO director, I was required to report data to the Department of Education that was supposed to prove that our program was helping students to stay in college and graduate and transfer out to universities. And it seemed simple enough, right? I was going to recruit some students who met the criteria, was going to support them through enrichment and tutoring and advising, and then I was going to report on how they were doing, and of course they were going to be doing great. And of course it wasn't that simple. My students took longer to graduate. Many struggled in high school and needed help preparing for college-level courses. And as a result, they took more courses, and they repeated some courses. Many had economic challenges, moving frequently, living in homes with little privacy, and sometimes few of the materials needed to be academically successful. Some of them were single parents, working and going to school and juggling their own kids and their kids' school. Some were recovering addicts, and some were immigrants who spoke more than one language and came with histories of grief and adaptation. Some were already mid-career and needed courses to get a promotion or change directions. Some were veterans. The thing is, the data that I reported didn't give me any way to nuance these details, to share their impact on whether someone dropped their classes, lost their financial aid, missed a test, fell asleep in class, or any number of other moments of stumbling. The data I reported didn't give me any way to share my awe for the moments when they discovered an exciting career path that they'd never considered before, or the moments when they finally got the grades that they needed to get into the nursing program, or the moments when they learned something that made their own experiences make sense in a new way. You know, that first time they took a psychology class and they were like, oh, that explains something I didn't know that there was language for and research about. The moments when they saw themselves differently, with more capacity and a sense of possibility. There was no data set for me to share those. So from preschool to college, we have been missing the moments, I think, that really matter. The data that really tells us what's happening and why. For all our talk of being student-centered, we've bought into a success paradigm that robs our children and adults of their voices and marginalizes their gifts, prioritizes measurement and incremental improvement over learning and transformation. I was reading a book called Street Data, and what they talked about, and one of the most important concepts in it, is that what is measurable is not the same as what is valuable. What is measurable is not the same as what is valuable. And we spend a lot of time on what is measurable and not nearly enough time on what is valuable. What I found drove success for my students was the quality of relationships we were willing to develop with them and between them. In my program, we took more time in our advising sessions. We trained our tutors to listen and be responsive. We planned activities that built community and exposed them to new ideas and experiences and opportunities. We went to music halls to hear a wide range of music. We went to plays. We visited universities all over the state. We went to cultural festivals. We planned retreats. We even hired a DJ to do karaoke. I learned to bust a couple moves in that. Not without people laughing at me. We planned celebrations. Our students were resilient because they had a community of support that wasn't just material. It was emotional and spiritual and present. They didn't always make my data look good. Sometimes they sounded like Rebecca's students. Sometimes they just missed something. But they proved to me over and over again that my data wasn't measuring the most valuable aspects of our work together. There was no real way to quantify those moments, but I also knew those moments made a difference. When I was teaching College 101 in Denver, I gave credit to my students for attending events on campus. And one of the events I encouraged them to go to was a panel of city council members and other leaders talking about how they became a leader, what caused them to want to run for office and be engaged in civic life. And one of the leaders was a young Latino city council member. He was probably in his early 30s at the time. And he made a huge impression on one of the young men in my class who shared his culture and his neighborhood of origin. The city council member talked about community organizing and learning about the needs of his neighbors and how that led him to run for office. And my student told me later that he had never considered this idea before, that he could be a voice for his community and make a difference. And it inspired him to say yes when I invited him to be a new student orientation leader and later to run for student government. He was a non-traditional student in his 20s whose life had taken some sharp turns, and he had narrowly missed the kind of personal disaster that can have long-lasting impact into the future. But when he graduated and transferred, his academic career was on a trajectory for traditional success. But more importantly, he had a new relationship with his community and his potential. His success to become the fuel to propel a wider commitment to a bigger project than his own material gain. Where was the box for me to check for this data? When we create educational experiences and systems that acknowledge the whole person, instead of, a series of tools and strategies and compliance tasks, that sounds fun, doesn't it? We step into a wider frame. We need schools and systems of education that understand how to weave the resources our students need into every aspect of their education, including their own care and concern for them. I worked to help the colleges I worked in to see that all of us needed to show up with this commitment, not just the special grant program or certain deeply committed teachers, and that teachers and educational staff needed allies, parents and colleagues and leaders who will walk with them and commit to long-term solutions instead of gimmicky quick fixes. They need administrators who are as committed to their own development and reflection as they are to asking teachers to grow and learn and perform. Too often, administrators and elected officials want to invest in things that look like a silver bullet, and they grow restless when a program takes, 3 or more years to yield results. We need leaders who will invest in the deeper personal and interpersonal and cultural shifts necessary to reinvent the educational systems that shape our communities. Developing curiosity and reflection as pivotal tools for change, instead of looking for a plug-and-play program that requires, so making those changes require courage. It's so easy to just pick up the curriculum that somebody else wrote for some other group of students and just do it as it's written. But that doesn't speak to the students, and it doesn't speak to your relationship with them. Taking the time to acknowledge and understand the history of a situation, the people and places involved, is challenging when other folks don't want to be responsible or accountable for mistakes made and promises that weren't kept. And when we finally experience an insight, when we have an aha moment, we can't let ourselves go back to business as usual. Little side fact, did you know that the SAT was created by Carl Brigham, professor of psychology, who was also a eugenicist? How many people knew that? Some of you knew that. I did not know that. And this is just one example of so many that remind us we have continued to use tools and measurements designed to create a society that is divided and is predicated on oppressive ideas about race and gender and disability and sexual orientation and so much more. But when you know better, you do better, right? What if, because of what we've deemed valid and reliable, we've actually been asking the wrong set of questions? What if the achievement gap is itself a mythology? And reality rely on test scores and other quantitative metrics that are deeply entwined in our histories of racism and exclusion and, yes, even eugenics. So what if we're measuring the wrong things in our students and our schools? Instead of measuring the composite test scores or the number of state-of-the-art digital devices or college acceptance letters at our schools, maybe we should consider the number of kids who demonstrate generosity and kindness, the ability to work with others and compromise, the depth of friendships built, the level of persistence in adversity. Maybe we should measure how many teachers were willing to admit mistakes and apologize, and how many administrators did lunch duty and bus duty and expressed care for their staff. How many students and teachers did the work of the janitor and also knew the janitor's name. Now, I know these things are happening in schools, and they make a difference. Maybe some of these should also be the litmus test for success. We can't revert to the classrooms of our childhoods Just because we survived them, and at what cost, really, doesn't mean that our kids and grandkids will. Yeah. Just because you made it through doesn't mean they should have to go through the same thing you did. Your elected leaders and other adults and parents in the rooms where we make decisions need to know we expect our educators to teach American history, not just the history that makes some of us look good. Yeah? We need them to know that we expect them to adapt to the increasing neurodivergence of their students and maybe their own. We expect them to learn about sexual orientation and gender identity and to be culturally competent. Your teachers already are, for the most part. It's the folks making decisions above them that are preventing them from using what they know. We expect them to know how to restore relationships and to model integrity. We expect them to see our kids as whole people with intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical realities, and that these bring incredible diversity that we need to be ready for. We need them to know that we expect them to stop evaluating our kids on a narrow set of data that don't reflect much of anything of value. But friends, let me remind you that if we expect these things from the leaders and educators trying to reimagine our schools, we need to expect these things of ourselves too. We need to practice them with each other, with the many generations that gather right here to learn and grow and build community. This community represents between 4 and 6 generations at any given time, a vast range of experiences that span from the Great Depression. Some of you were born in the 30s. You don't have to raise your hand. To the Black Lives Matter movement. With many scientific discoveries, technological innovations, societal changes, and so much more in between. What if we were the ones to spark the conversations, to discover new practices, to ask better questions, and to listen for different answers? Whether we're doing this in our own faith formation classes, right here on our campus with youth and adults here, or in conversations with each other, or in meetings where we invite each other into deeper discernment, we have a chance to reorient ourselves and our communities for a more vibrant and satisfying future. So I do encourage you to volunteer with our youth, not just because they need you, but because you need them. They will transform, I guarantee you, they will transform how you see gender and race and culture, climate change, poverty and wealth, violence and peace, and the adult world that you are embedded in, that we are embedded in. You have a chance to remind them of the incredible gifts that they bring and to encourage them to share these and to be generous. If we are willing, this exchange will be the realization of a dream we've been waking from and forgetting, one in which our legacy is a shared meal, sustaining and delicious, a recipe that we can return to again and again. So may each of you find that you are made of the light that shines in spite of hardship and misfortune. May you discover that you contain the quality of light that restores that which has been broken and rekindles our dreams for a future that finds us whole and integrated, connected and capable of healing. May it be so for our students, for our teachers, for ourselves, for our communities, for each of you and all of us. Blessed be.
Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let let go.
Please sing in body or in spirit.
Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. One more. Loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
So we come to a time in our service where we practice generosity. We've already been practicing it with each other by sharing our gifts and our presence. If you have the opportunity to share with us other gifts, we are happy to receive them in multiple ways, by text, by mail, as we pass around the plate, in whatever way that you would like to contribute. And know that there are so many other ways that we invite you to be part of generosity here. Kelsey did such a good job of reminding you that we love to have more adults in our youth classrooms. You will learn with them, I promise, and it is easy to make that connection. And there's so many other ways to connect with this community, so let's help you get connected in the ways that make sense for you.
So as we start offering, the music team is going to sing a song. And I thought I'd tell you who is on our music team real quick. This is Jenny Pixler.
Hi.
Andrew Seifert. And Christy Vest. Thank you all. And this is a beautiful song written by India Ari. If you have not heard of this artist, I encourage you to look her up. Her music is deep, beautiful, thought-provoking. India Ari. And it's a song to help us remember who we truly are. So this song is a commitment to our kids, to each other, and to ourselves that we are more than the things that define us in the world, that we are light. So in this song, there is a repetitive chorus, and it's purposely repetitive because it takes a while to really let that sink in with all of the messages that the world wants to tell us of what our worth actually is. It takes a minute to really let it sink in, I'm a light. So you're welcome to sing on that part. It just goes, I am a light, I am a light. Can you repeat that? I am a light, I am a light. So we invite you in to take the medicine of this song.
My family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am alive. Sing with us. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dreams I left behind. I am the skin on the outside. I am not my age, I am not my race, my soul's inside. It's all light, it's all light, it's all light.
Our closing words are by John Donahue, called For Belonging. May you listen to your longing to be free. May the frames of your belonging be generous enough for your dreams. May you arise each day with a voice of blessing whispering in your heart. May you find a harmony between your soul and your life. May the sanctuary of your soul never become haunted. May you know the eternal longing that lives at the heart of time. May there be kindness in your gaze when you look within. May you never place walls between the light and yourself. May you allow the wild beauty of the invisible world to gather you, mind you, and embrace you in belonging. And may this be the measure of your success and well-being, the story that is more than the data.
Okay, please stand and sing in body or in spirit. We're going to liven it up a little bit to close out. This is number 1024 from our Teal hymnal. It's a song used during the civil rights era at demonstrations, mass meetings of activists and marches in the late 1950s and 60s. and it's called When the Spirit Says Do. Can you imagine the response? You do. The version in our hymnal is a jazzy version. So there's some tricky parts, but just let loose, have some fun with it, and join us. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord. You gotta do when the Spirit says do. 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 You gotta clap when the Spirit says clap. You gotta clap when the Spirit says clap. When the Spirit says clap, you gotta clap, oh Lord. To clap when the Spirit says clap. 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 You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you gotta dance, oh Lord. You gotta dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you gotta sing, oh Lord. You gotta sing when the Spirit says sing. Let's hear it. Spirit says sing. 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 You gotta do what the Spirit says do.
Won't you join us in the extinguishing of our chalice, which is not the extinguishing of our connection, right? We invite you to stay for the welcome circle or to chat with each other, learn about things happening around campus. But join us in these words at home or here in the room as we extinguish it today. Though we extinguish the chalice, our connection to each other and this community remains. May its light guide us this week as we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, and fill our world with compassion until we meet again. Go in peace. If you're online and you want to move to Zoom, give us about 5 to 10 minutes to pull it up. So our tech booth needs that chance to make the switch. Excellent, and go in peace and enjoy the week. Maybe there'll be rain.
No. Robert Anderson.
Wait, you're doing I Am a Light? Yeah. Or I Am Light? Oh, sorry, the first.
A light.
I didn't even know. The Robert Anderson one. Okay. Okay.
I appreciate it.
I am a light.
I am alive.
I am a light.
I am alive.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
This is a place.
This is the place.
This is a time.
This is the time.
Live Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
I'm living love every day.
Living love every day.
I'm living love every day.
I'm living love every day.
I'm feeling love every day.
I'm living love every day.
Spreading peace along the way.
Spreading peace along the way.
Right time,
Right time,
right place.
right place.
Living love,
Living love
every day.
every day.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is the place.
This is the place.
This is the time.
This is the time.
Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
Alive.
I am alive.
I am alive.
I am alive.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
I see the joy.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
In this world.
This is the place.
This is the place.
This is the time.
This is the time.
Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
I see the place.
This is the place.
This is the time.
This is the time.
Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
Oh, let it shine.
Oh, let it shine. Katie leaves us. Well, high five. How did it feel? Yeah? Awesome. I'm like so happy you're doing it. It's like, it feels so good to sing with other people, you know? Especially like who are good. Especially ones who are very good. Yeah.